What's shaking? Hey, I'm Rick Jordan, and today we're going all in. Okay, so today is awesome because we're about 9 hours apart. I'm in Chicago in the studio. My guest is in Dubai. He is one of the top 100 most influential people in Dubai. Just an amazing dude in finance and sales. And you need to turn the volume up to listen to my guest right now, Spencer Lodge. Welcome to the show, my man.
Thanks for having me, man, and I really appreciate the invite.
Dude, this has been phenomenal so far, even in just our green room talk, just talking about your mom and how you're not wearing a tie today. We bonded quite a bit, my man. That was fabulous. And I said, I love your mom already, dude. That's awesome. So, the thing that stuck out at me about your bio, and I want to start here and then kind of work backwards, maybe rewind a bit. Top 100 influential people in Dubai. Amazing city. Can you tell me about that? How did that come about, and why are you named that?
It was through a publication years ago. When I'm 54 years old, when I was young, we had magazines. We didn't read stuff online. We'd get the magazine. It would be the subscription that would be delivered. And we have news magazines, or we had news magazines here. One's called Arabian Business, one's called Gulf Business, and so on and so forth. Arabian Business is the biggest one. And they voted me. I didn't even know, but they voted me one of the top 100 most influential people. And Wow. There are some mighty influential people on there. I don't consider myself influential at all, but clearly I hit a chord with a few people, and I'm very grateful for that. So there's nothing more to it than that, really.
That's cool how that happens, isn't it? You're just going along and you're following your mission, and then all of a sudden, you just get these accolades from nowhere. Yeah,
well, I didn't like it though, because I was number something like 74, and I'm like, 74? Why am I 74? Why wasn't I 54?
Dude, yes, that's exactly it. So what if that were me, man, I'd be picking up the phone and I'd be like, hey, what do I need to do to be in the top 10? You chose me number 74. Where did I suck?
With the top three guys, they fell out with each other. Because
Really?
when you're number two, you're like, it's not great. I mean, being number one, great, but being number two or number three, these guys, I'm talking about seriously successful and seriously influential people, billionaires, the chairmen of massive organizations that have real impact in what they do. And so, they don't like coming second. They'd rather not be in it than come second.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
me at 74 giving it.
No joke. No joke. I think back to when because I played baseball a lot when I was younger, in the year I was named MVP, of the league. I made the travel team, the All-Stars, all of that. And, I compare that to the Olympics, and it's like the competitive nature that we have in business too. Like, could you imagine being in the Olympics and being on the bronze podium, and just kind of looking up? It's like What are the thoughts that go through their head? I've often wondered that. Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. I've had those moments.
I know. It's like Ricky Bobby. What does he say? If you're not first, you're last.
Yep. Yeah, right on. That's such a great film too, man. That's a great reference. Dude, you're in sales, obviously. You have been for the longest time, and also in finance. I've recently been going through some stuff with my team internally, and it's almost like mandatory reading, because one of the books, that I want them to read is The Way of the Wolf with Jordan Belfort, and I know Jordan, he knows me, and it's some of the amazing things that he's done from a sales perspective, and obviously some questionable things from a sales perspective too. But his methods are honed in, especially when building the rapport and looping back, This is the first thing, and I want to dive down this road because you are the pro. Right, Jordan and I, we can get along, but for you and I, we've got a great vibe and energy. What is your approach to stuff like this? When it comes to actually getting on the phone the first time, walking in the door the first time, shaking the hand the first time.
If I can be really honest, and it might people out there object, but being really honest, we don't take sales as a profession and professionally qualified to do it. What invariably happens is people fall into sales either by mistake or desperation. That's typically commission-only sales, and that might be network marketing or working for an office equipment company or something like
vehicles,
that.
Auto,
Yeah, all of that stuff. And so what happens is people learn to sell by accident. And they're not properly trained. And I wonder sometimes why people think they won't succeed. You'd never sit down with a pilot and say, hey, have you qualified to be a pilot? No, but don't you worry, we'll make it work. That doesn't happen. With a doctor, with a lawyer. If you saw a lawyer and he's like, I've never tried a case before. I've not even passed my bar exam. But, I feel it and I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to try my hardest and I'll see if I can get that divorce payment and settlement for you. It's just ridiculous. So that's where sales for me is employers make the mistake. So they want to employ people to work in sales, yet they don't train them. And when it comes to training, I don't mean doing a couple of hours training or a couple of days or a week's training course. Training is something that needs to take place, I believe, every single day for at least 2 hours for 18 months.
Wow.
And so training the skills of sales. So I have a sales process. It's dead simple, nothing fancy. It's 4 steps. Number 1 is rapport, and rapport is when you ask questions and get to know 3 parts of their personality. When you meet a man for the first time or a professional person, you'll ask them about what work they do. Then you'll ask them maybe what they do outside of work, and maybe you'll ask them about their family. And so you've got 3 pillars essentially in that rapport.
Dude, 15 minutes, dating.
Get them talking. Yes, of course, it's exactly like dating. Get them talking. And then you go on to the next bit where you introduce what you do and how you do it, because you've given them a chance to talk. So they're now prepared to listen. And so you then go through that process. Then you've got to learn what the problem is. And selling at the end of the day is finding out someone's problem and being the solution to the problem. And so and then when you're a solution to the problem, price becomes irrelevant. It's value that's important. So it's a problem. Well, how big of a problem? Can we make the problem bigger? Can we make the problem so big that they immediately need to do something about it to solve it? And so for me, sales is about that. But then what we've got to understand is that there's lots and lots of rejection. So you have to train people to understand that no's are critically important on the journey. And a lot of people are fearful. You know, when I was young, we didn't have computers. We had literally the phone, the desk, the card holders, and a notepad and a script. And we'd stand there with the phone attached to the blooming desk. And when I was learning about rejection. I was learning to understand that I needed to get 99 no's to get 1 yes.
Yeah, right on.
And when you're 18 years old and you know no different, you don't understand how you can argue with that, because you just do as you're told.
Yeah.
And again, you go and join the army. What do? They train you and condition you, and they brainwash you is essentially what the army do. Okay. You go and learn to be a politician. They train, they brainwash you, because you'll have your opinion based on being, I don't know, a conservative, being a Republican, whatever it may be. In selling, we need to be conditioned, and we need to be trained so that it becomes a subconscious behavior that we all have. People fear the telephone. Well, we don't need to use that as much. People think that cold calling is the answer. I haven't seen anything more ridiculous in my life than people that still cold call to this day. It's like, why would you?
You just burned me. Yeah.
Because it's not needed. I'm sorry if your team does it, but it's like, for me, it's like, if I've got to make 100 calls to get hold of some people and try and generate some leads and some opportunities, that time that I've spent doing that, is that the very best use of my time? And I know for sure it's not. I would every salesperson would rather make 10 calls to 10 referrals than 100 calls to cold people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, you're talking warm versus cold leads in that. Yeah,
that's absolutely right. Yeah. Sure. So if you could, at the end of the day, I worked out when I was younger, I was in sales and I was in financial services, and this is exactly what happened. I wanted to earn £1 million, and I was like, right, £1 million. How do I earn £1 million? That's if I divide that monthly, that's 83,333 a month. Right? I'm going to do that's roughly 20,000 a week. Okay, that's roughly 4,000 a day. Right. What do I do to earn 4,000 a day? And what I learned is that I needed to see for £20,000 a week, I needed to see 10 prospects. I needed to convert 4 of them. So that's what I needed to do. And I knew if I saw 10 prospects that were referrals, the conversions would happen. So this is what happened exactly for your salespeople. I booked 15 meetings in my diary every week, of which I saw 10 of them, of which I converted 4. So how did I see 15? Well, I knew I needed 3 referrals for 1 prospect. So that meant I needed 45 referrals a week. Never been done before in my industry. It's an outrageous number people thought. But that to me was 9 a day, which meant that was 4.5 in the morning and 4.5 in the afternoon. So now I've got that in my head. I'm like, well, it can't be that hard to find 4.5 people. So I then made it my business with everybody I met to introduce me to 5 people. And I wouldn't let them get away with it. And I wouldn't do business with them unless they were willing to introduce me, because it was a test. If they weren't willing to introduce me, they didn't trust me, which meant it was unlikely to do business anyway. So why waste my time? So that's the approach that I took.
So when you say referral, you're not actually talking about a referral from an existing customer, which I know both both you and I have had those types of referrals, but a lot of people think that's what a referral is. You're actually even going down to networking when you're saying, hey, just somebody you might even meet, or somebody you built a relationship.
No. So let's say I go and see 10 prospects.
Yeah.
They're not customers. But I tell the prospect, I use a simple process. I say, look, I work on the 80-20 rule. My competition does as well. Let me explain what they do. They spend 80% of their time looking for new clients, and they spend 20% of their time looking after their clients.
Yeah.
I don't believe that makes sense.
I
spend
so
80% of my time looking after my clients and 20% of my time looking for clients. And the only way I can do that is if you guys help me to find new clients. And you know people that I don't know. I'm not going to ask you to sell for me or anything like that. But your phone's probably got 1,000 contacts in. I bet there's 5 people in there that you know that I don't know that I could reach out and introduce myself to. If they're interested, wonderful. If they're not, no, nothing lost. And so that's the way I approach it.
Yeah, that's a good. So everybody, when you're talking about referrals, are contacts or customers rather. Because I mean, you and I meet people all the live long day, brand new people. So when you're talking with them, you have coffee with them.
Yeah, you do. Do you like networking?
Oh my God, that's the best thing in the world. Absolutely.
Okay. I hate it.
You hate it, really?
I hate networking. I hate going into a room of strangers and having these conversations, like loose conversations about something and nothing. I hate small talk. And so I'm not a fan of, let's say I went to an event with you and you said, Spence, I need to introduce you to this guy.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's different. But if you're like in an event with me and we turn up there and there's 1,000 people and you're like, let's go talk to people. I'm like, oh, that's my biggest, I hate that. I get icky. So what I believe is that if I meet 10 prospects, they're not all clients, they're not customers, but they're prospects. Yep. And they're the people that I'm going to get my referrals from. And that's how I do it. Yeah,
that makes so much sense. Because I mean, even in the sales, the way that I train sales as well with my salespeople, those are that are sitting directly with, and I say sitting, I mean, it could be Zoom these days, Zoom appointments, whatever it is, but having that first sales engagement, it gets to the point to where I always say things like, a quote or a proposal is where the sales goes to die. Because I help them structure the conversation to where if someone asks for that, it's like, what? I don't think that we're there yet. That's one of the responses that I train. I don't think that we're there yet because I need to make sure that we're both a fit for each other. Because to your point, Spencer, it's like, I want you to be able to trust me that I can give you the solutions that you need to your pain. And I want me to be able to trust you that you're going to be a great customer for us too. So I always say you can use the phrasing like, this is like a first date. And I've even said this humorously in sales. And it's like, we need to know if this is going to be a one-night stand or if this could turn into something like a long-term relationship, and it generates the humor and all that. But that's the rapport building. That's the trust that you're talking about. And even if they don't do business with me or with you, from what I'm hearing from you right now, you're saying that you could still ask that prospect 4 or 5 referrals because you built the rapport.
Imagine this. Imagine if you close 4 in 10.
Yeah.
If you get no referrals from the other 6, you've just wasted a load of time. Get something from them. If it's not a sale on your product or service, then at least get a sale in terms of getting some referrals. Yeah. Are they going to be the golden ones? Maybe not the golden ones, but you know what? It's better than walking away with your tail between your leg, okay, with your head down, feeling, darn it, I didn't get that.
Yeah, right on. I love that. I have never trained that way, and that's something that I'm going to institute right now. Because you're blowing my mind today with that too, because it's a different bridge, but it makes so much sense. It's like, well, they're not going to do business with me, but maybe they know somebody that will.
Every time you meet someone that's referred, it's so powerful. So let's say me and you, Rick, let's say Lola's the person that referred us. Yeah. You and I have now got somebody to talk about when we first meet. So how do you know Lola? Tell me about Lola. Tell me about what you know. And you ask me the same. Yeah. Oh, she's a great girl, isn't she? What a wonderful lady she is. I've really enjoyed. We've already got this at the beginning. So when I meet you, you were referred. Yeah. So when I come to ask you for referrals, you already know that you're referred, so you know that that's the journey that I'm on and the behavior and the process that I use. So you're now not sitting there going, oh, referrals, I don't know about that. Okay, you're like, well, it came from Lola, so of course you're going to refer me to other people. That's a given, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yep, right on. Now, how do you track this inside of an organization? This might be a little bit of a personal question. Is this something when you have a sales team or when you manage a sales team, do you actually use that as a KPI? An instrument of measurement is how many referrals you've received on a day, a week, a month?
I use it as an incentive. So I run incentives on referrals. Right. Look, guys can control activity. They can't control outcomes. Mm-hmm. And so I would rather have somebody that's given me 110% every day, 5 days a week, writing no business at all, than a guy that's coming in and doing 2 hours work a day that's dropping a deal every week. I would much rather, because that guy that's giving me his all, the reason he's not making it is me. because
Yeah.
I'm not giving him the skills that he needs. And so it's so much easier to work with those people, because once they have the skills, they'll evolve, they'll still have the work ethic, and they will deliver. And so when it comes to those guys that are the lazier ones, I don't. But when it comes to tracking stuff and measuring it, I keep it really simple. I use three steps in my sales process. We teach, we monitor, and we measure. All right. So you teach it. Okay. You and I sit in a classroom with the guys in a boardroom, whatever it is, and we teach it. Then we have to monitor them doing it. So that's a combination of maybe role playing. That's watching them do that in front of their clients, jumping on the Zoom and listening in. That's your monitoring. And then we measure the outcome. And so for me, and that feedback that people get means they feel engaged with the development of their own skills and their own career, rather than just be like, how much business you going to write this week, buddy? Which is what is often done.
You totally turned into a persona right there, man. That was brilliant. That was great. I can imagine you on stage. I mean, we can kind of get a feel for each other, but I can imagine you on stage. How many more personas do you have, man? That was brilliant. That was awesome. I love it. And your process is so easy to follow too. You know, that's what I love about it, because it's so natural. You know, and I know we have different opinions on networking. I don't know, maybe that's an extrovert introvert thing, you know, because right now we're a one-on-one on a Zoom.
Yeah, you know, it's not, we don't all, nobody likes the same things all the time.
For sure.
You know, what we always like to close a deal. We always like to be given loads of leads. We always like to make a load of money. We always like praise and appreciation for what we do. But our routes to market, I know some guys that would rather network than get referrals. You know, I don't like networking. For me, it's intimidating. So let me do the referral approach. Other people out there, even in my business, and I'm like, guys, I don't care. Get 15 meetings in your diary a week, see 10 of them, and it's impossible to fail.
Yeah.
Even if you're Joe average.
You and I would make a great team then, because I love the networking and you love the referrals. That would be fantastic. I know, right? Yeah, right on. I love it. And networking is with the purpose, for sure, brother. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I just love people in general, and I know you do too. You know, but it's I'm with you. Your persona is going to stick with me. I hope in post-production we can just like replay that, kind of like as a boomerang, because that was brilliant, my man. You need to post that everywhere. Oh my God, I love it. So, finance, you know, let's shift real quick here. Finance, because that's the business of your business, right?
That's my training and my background. Yeah, I was a financial advisor or financial planner, whatever you want to call them, for many years. And I went to live in Hong Kong as a youngster, 23 years old. I've lived overseas for 33 years. And moving from the UK to Hong Kong, the difference in the products wasn't much, but the amount of money was much bigger. So the clients were investing much more. Yeah. So I got paid more. But I learned about financial planning when I was young, and I got a real bee in my bonnet about people retiring without enough money. And so I used to sit and think to myself, so you're 30 years before you make much money. Between the age of 30 and 65 is kind of when all the money's made, plus all the costs come out. And then you get to 65 and you live for 25, 30 years and you're broke. It's kind of like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
But people seem to be obsessed in the States, in the UK, wherever they are, seem obsessed with living for today, but not planning for the future. And so, I mean, I used to say to people, I'd meet a 40-year-old man that was married that had no financial planning in place. And I'm like, has anyone told your wife? And they'd look at me, no, well, someone needs to, because if you get to 65 and you're broke, what are you going to do? When we think about it, what do? You're 65 and you're broke. What are your options? Number one, rob a bank. Number two, win the lottery. Okay.
There's a Netflix documentary about that now. Everybody can learn how to rob a bank.
Yeah, but it's like rob a bank, and I look at you and I'm like, will you look good with a balaclava? Not so sure. You know, winning the lottery, but you got more chance of getting struck by lightning. Okay, or you can save and plan for it. But now you're 65, that's not going to happen. So now you're in a situation where you've got potentially 30 years of your life where you're going to have to rely on your kids to support you. So why would you have a desire to do that? And, you know, when we're younger, I don't know you, Rick, but when I was younger, it was the watches, the cars, the houses, the boats, and all this kind of nonsense stuff that had significance to me, which told me via others that I had success.
Yeah, it was external validation seeking. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I don't have any, that doesn't exist in my mind anymore. The ego's gone. The desire for those types of things is neither here nor there. Yeah. I use my money for other things that I care about. But when I look at people, it's like, people aren't being educated enough to learn what to do. No one, I think financial planning, I think investment strategy, I think that understanding tax, understanding just simple credit cards, how they work, understanding how you budget, all this kind of stuff should be taught at school. And nobody should leave school without knowing when they come out, if someone offers them a credit card, exactly what that means.
Yeah, for sure.
They should understand what a mortgage is and so how it works and how it works for you and against you. They should understand the different asset classes. And people buy stocks. I've got a stock portfolio. Okay, what have you bought? Oh, I've got Tesla and I've got Coca-Cola and I've got Apple. Okay, why? I don't know, because I have, I've got my Schwab account and that's what I'm doing. And then, you've got the crypto people. I'm like, why are you invested in crypto? Oh, because I can make money there. Okay, explain to me how the blockchain works. I don't know. It's a ledger. Oh, great. Wonderful. Okay. Well, explain to me how Solana or Bitcoin works. I don't know. Okay. Explain to me how a mutual fund works. And it's like, you don't know about this kind of stuff, and yet you're going to give yourself a real headache in the future that you don't have to worry about if you just take the time to learn. As you can hear from my rant, I got on a bit of I got really committed to that and wanted to make sure. And I used to say two things to people. They would say to me, what do you do for a living? And I say, I bulletproof people against all their mistakes. Okay. And the other thing I used to say is I'm the fifth emergency service, because you've got the police, you've got ambulance and fire. You've got the Automobile Association, and then you've got me. They stop all of these problems. I stop you messing up your money, and that's my job. And I'm here to protect you from bad decisions.
Did you come up with all those? Or did you have a brand manager?
Yeah.
Man, that's freaking brilliant. We need to have like a sidebar or something. Give me a sentence that I can say. That would be great.
But it's funny. This is a good one for networking, and this is great.
Yeah,
I go to a networking event and people say to me, "Hi, how are you?" And I'm like, "What do you do for a living?" And they're like, "I'm the senior executive officer of an XYZ Okie Dokie 123 company." And I'm like, "Oh, right, okay, that's interesting." It's not, but that's what they say. And then they say to me, "What do you do?" And I say, "I help people become millionaires." And I look at them, and they kind of double take, and they're like, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "Well, it's not something I discuss at a networking event. If you want to come to my office and talk to me, then we can talk about it privately there."
I love that.
And they're like, "Well, how do you do it?" And I just walk away. I won't engage with them. I walk away, and then you'll find they follow you.
I wish I had a mic right now, because that's a mic drop. They follow you. Look at that.
They do. They follow you because everyone's greedy. Everyone wants shortcuts to success and money and stuff. And so they're like, "What does that guy do?" No, they don't know. But if I said I'm a financial planner, if I said I'm a wealth manager, if I said I'm a financial advisor, I mean, how interesting is that?
No joke.
That's in a networking event. It's drop the mic because I'm out of here.
No kidding. It is like dating, because you're creating the mystery and the intrigue, right? It's like you walk up to, as you walk up to a woman, it's like, I'm the best thing that could ever happen to you. And then that's it. You walk away after you leave the drink. That's awesome.
We need to go dating together. Go and find some. I mean, my wife would be mad about that, but you have to edit that bit.
You take that half of the room, Spence. I'll take that half of the room. Okay.
Hold on. Give me your cue cards. I need those quickly. Give me those cue cards.
I love it, man. I love how you do that too, because I'm with you on this. And from a financial planning perspective, I'd have to say, there's nothing like sales to try to generate that. And I feel that, to bring this back around, sales truly has unlimited earnings potential. And as long as you're with the right organization, or you're doing it for yourself and you're setting it up that way, it really has unlimited earnings potential. And I try to institute that into my company too, pretty much with everybody, even the individuals that are out there fixing servers and everything like that. It's like they always have an opportunity to bring up another need that could be there. And it's, I learned this way back with Geek Squad, because I used to work with Geek Squad 20 something years ago. Right. And every time I'd go in, it's like, well, I'm already here. This is the upsell. I'm already here. Why don't I take care of this for you as well? Because somebody else sold it, but then I'm sure you did the same thing in financial planning. There's this, but as long as it matched what they needed, it's like, there's all these other things that you need to do as well. What kind of disservice are you doing if you don't mention that? That's what always got me. I took the inverse. It's like, if I'm not doing everything I can to help them, we're both losing. They're not getting the solution, and I'm not getting paid.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If you're a financial planner and people decide not to become a client, what they actually do is then ignore that subject for 2 or 3 years. And that's damaging for them, critically damaging for them. So to your point, I understand. Another thing to consider here, a salary is like a sentence.
Yeah.
I've never had a salary. And these people that like want the security from a salary, let's say, you get paid $10,000 a month. I don't know what you take home in the States after tax, but let's say it's 7.5, whatever it may be, 7,000. You now have to plan your whole life. Your holidays, your vacations, your Christmas gifts, your birthday gifts, your treats, your choice of car, your insurance, your furniture in your house, your swimming pool being retiled or not retiled, all this kind of stuff. You have to work in with this money. And it's like, and you got John at the end of the blooming office that sits there on the same salary of you, that swans in 30 minutes late, he leaves 30 minutes early, he has the fattest lunch that you could imagine, and you're busting your balls and he gets paid the same as you because you're on a salary. I couldn't imagine anything so restrictive as that. If I work hard for you, Rick, pay me what I'm worth, man. If I go out and get results, pay me what I do. If I work twice as hard as everybody else, I want twice as much. If I get you twice as many results, make sure that I get rewarded for it.
Right on.
But every employer wants, that's gold for an employer. Yeah. We want guys to want that.
Yep,
but there are so many people out there that are just kind of stuck in that kind of, that I'm never going to change my pattern place.
Yeah, I'm with you. Where do you think that loop starts, and how do you stop it? Because I train this, I coach it too, but I'm curious as to what your take is on that. Breaking out of the matrix. I could put it that way.
Great way of putting it. Look, it's fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a fear of something being less. So rather than an optimistic thought about what could be more, it's a fear of something being less. When you've grown up in sales as I have, you know no different. So there's no fear. You know that rejection is part of the job, so you don't fear it. You know that if you work extra hard and you land an extra couple of clients, that means an extra couple of $1,000 or whatever it may be in whatever job you're in. But the fear of stepping away from this security, people have convinced themselves that they need that. And you notice this when people get into sales that have been in a salaried role. They're like, no, I need a salary. Okay, I need a basic salary. I've got to cover my costs. And it's like, well, so we've got to pay for your salary to give you your security and commission. Yeah. Okay, so where do we win in that? Where's the deal for us? And I just think people are scared. And what they do is they surround themselves with other people that think and feel the same.
Yeah.
Because let's say you were the salaried guy and we were out with 10 of my friends, and every weekend we spent together, and the 10 of my friends and I were all commission led, number twos in a company or salespeople working within a company, an entrepreneur, I suppose you'd call it, and you were the guy on a salary. And we all, every week, one of the guys was going, landed a deal, 50 grand, come on.
Yeah.
Okay. How long would it take for you to start questioning it and then thinking otherwise? It wouldn't take long. But if you go out with a bunch of chartered accountants each week and all they do is talk about stability and sensibility and, the risk, it's scary out there, job market's tough, more opportunities are tough, recession might be coming, then you retreat into your place of safety, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. Recession's always coming too. I mean, even in the States, when the Feds cut the rates this week, that sparked the news about recession, the speculation about recession. I keep looking at this. I'm like, do you not realize we've been in one for like 5 years already? And I mean, it's media, right? But it's been just different stages of this thing. And then it's like when interest rates were going up and they're like, oh, this is going to bring on the recession, but we're going to curb inflation. Look at the historical patterns. And now that the Feds cut rates substantially just a couple of weeks ago, like, oh, this is the biggest sign yet. It's always apocalypse, doom and gloom. And that comes from finance people, man. It comes from finance all the time, And I get it because CFOs, I've got a great one, his job is really to mitigate risk. That is the number one job. And I once had someone tell me, a finance individual who ran a CFO mastermind, he's like, Rick, I want to tell you something as you're going public. He goes, finance adds no value to an organization. He's like, all it does is mitigate risk. So it's which I think they're both needed. But from what I'm hearing you saying, it's like, why would you always want to hang out with the individuals on the left? Because that's the only conversation. Because if you're going to be there and you're somebody who wants unlimited earnings potential, and you're just constantly looking at mitigating your risk, and that's the only thing you're looking at, you're going to get me on a soapbox on a rant now too, because I think back to the pandemic, dude, everybody was like pulling back, cut the expenses, cut the costs, reduce, workforce reduction, all of this. I'm like, let's go balls to the wall, all in, double down. You know, because I like spending my time over on this group over here.
Okay, so what we consider here, number one, find an industry that's recession proof. I think cybersecurity is probably pretty recession proof.
Right.
Financial services, I think, is exactly the same. Insurance, they're recession proof industries. And then I defy anybody to go and live in Mexico and not learn Spanish. You know, it's proximity, isn't it, to the people that think and use a language differently. And if you hang around with people like me and you, and we're these types of people, it won't take long for it to just start rubbing off on you, and you'll start doubting the decisions you've made in life, and you'll start wanting more, and you'll start thinking about gratitude and abundance and optimism and purpose and mission. Whereas I think a lot of people don't even have those things on their radar.
Yeah, I'm with you, especially if they come to a bar with us, right? And they'll really be like, I want to go there all the time.
And watch you trying it on with the ladies.
Yeah, that's right. Full circle. I love that. I did stand up a few years ago, and I learned the artistry of the callback, which that's what I've done it a couple of times during the show. Dude, this has been fantastic, for real, brother. I appreciate you. Your wisdom, your intelligence, your insight is just phenomenal. It's no wonder why you've had so much success, and why your podcast has grown so much, and why you're speaking on all kinds of stages. Thanks for coming on, my man. Where can we find you? Where can it be? I mean, I'm following you on Instagram now. You know, it's what's your Spencer.Lodge, right? At Spencer.Lodge.
Yeah, my name sounds like an old people's home, so you have to be careful. It's not.
Spencer Lodge. I didn't make that connection, but now that's all I'm going to hear. Why'd you do that?
But yeah, I mean, you can find me there. I'm on LinkedIn and all the other usual places that you can find me. But I think that my focus now is I'm a different person to the person I was, but I'm always super excited by anybody in sales, business development, entrepreneurship, people that no matter where they're starting want to be somebody, want to be something more, want to try and achieve something more. Anybody like that is just the energy I get from those types of people, that hunger when you're with those people, man, I could have dinner with those guys every night. Ladies, there's two, sorry.
I'm with you. Yep. Right on. Brother, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. I'd love to have you back sometime. Maybe we can have a follow-up conversation.
Absolutely, man. Where are you in the States?
Chicago. Yeah, just outside.
Chicago, right.
Yep.
I'm gonna be in the States. I would love to get you on the show, okay, face to face, and you and I sit down and spend a bit of time together, because I think we'd have some great content to make.
Yeah, we would, for sure, my man. I appreciate that. I think I might see you in Vegas coming up in November. I believe that's where we'll
connect. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Do you need to talk about Vegas?
Do we need to talk about Vegas? We can talk about Vegas. Yeah. What are we talking about Vegas?
Well, you can't leave it on I might see you in Vegas. After what you just said.
I think I am going to see you in Vegas. But
I'll see you in Jaguar.
Oh my gosh. But November. I will see you in Vegas in November. I think it's F1 week out there.
It is F1 week and Sustainability Summit week as well. So yes, if we're going to be there together, then that'll be fantastic. We'll get a studio organized and definitely spend some time.
For sure. Before we end, actually tell everyone about that event, because the event's phenomenal. Yeah.
4,500 people in person. I think between 1 and 5 million, depending on how many subscribe online for that event. It's a really, really big event. So some incredible speakers, and I'm talking about world leaders. I'm not talking about your average Joe that's come and likes to get on stage and bang on about what he does. There's a problem out there. There's sustainability, mental health challenges that exist. People not understanding. We get this greenwashing thing that businesses do, and they spend their time pretending to be sustainable. And approaching things. And for me, it's like, how do we teach kids to understand this shit? How do we get it into schools? How do we make sure that the next generation learns about it when they're young and they grow up thinking about how they can approach business sustainably, how we can feed the world sustainably, how we can look at how we live our lives. Biohacking is a sexy term, but what does it mean and how can it impact you? I'm 54 years old. I don't want to die when I'm young. I don't want to be one of those statistics. And so what can I consume? How can I live a healthier life? People like Deepak Chopra, Jay Shetty are all going to be there. So we've got some of the biggest speakers there. We're going to have panel discussions. We're going to try and make it as interactive as possible. We've got a gala dinner where you can network like crazy and I'll sit in the corner on my phone.
Perfect. I'm going to run over to your corner, man. Like, come on.
Spence, come and talk to this guy. Yep. All right, then. But really, I mean, look, we need to create a movement around some of the issues that exist here. And for me, if anybody asked me to come and host an event in Las Vegas, my first answer, honestly, mate, is no. It's 12 hours away from me. It's a 12-hour time difference. It's like, do I really want to be there? But the truth is, this is so important. And so when Lola reached out to me after the other work we'd done on human trafficking and stuff, it was really important that I supported her with this. And I know that she's going to turn this into a landmark event that will take place, I think, 2 or 3 times a year in different parts of the world.
I love it.
And create a movement for us all to work together. So yeah, the Sustainable Summit.life, you'll find the website if you want to. Go check it out. It might be for you, it might not, but I urge you to, if you care about this planet and you care about people and your kids and the future, then you probably should be there.
I love it. Everyone needs to go there and register, attend, and you will find Spencer in the corner. That works.
Of the stage.
Yep, of the stage. There you go. That's great. I will be there for real. Register and go, and you'll see both of us there and a lot of awesome people. Spencer, my man, you're amazing. Thank you, brother, for coming on.
No, I really appreciate your time, and thank you so much for allowing me to be a guest.